Hello everyone, and welcome to this year's Nelson College London Learning, Teaching, Engagement and Enhancement Conference. The theme for this year's conference is Value for Money in Your Education. And we've set this theme within the context of the Nelson College online response to COVID-19. I sincerely hope you enjoy our presentation, and I would now like to take this opportunity to introduce our host, Mr. Bruce McLaughlin.
Thank you, David, and I'd like to add my welcome to all of you as well. And thank you for inviting us into your homes. Let's just set the scene for what we've got coming up. We're going to be with you for about the next 45 minutes or so. So if at any point during the presentations you feel like taking a break, please do feel free to press pause, go and make yourself a cup of tea, grab a biscuit, and come back and watch the rest of the presentations. The presentations are definitely worth watching, not just because of their content, but also because we have a quiz associated with this entire event and with some very valuable cash prizes. You'll have found the rules to the quiz and indeed a link to participate with your invitation to watch this video. And alongside that, there are links to a number of resources, fact sheets and other useful information. So do feel free to study those after this event. Want to stress also that this really is a two-way process. We're not just us speaking to you, we want to hear back from you. So if there are any questions that we don't answer during the presentations, please feel free to contact us. We've set up a special email address for exactly that purpose. It is ltee@nelsoncollege.ac.uk. I will repeat that address later on, and of course it's also in your information pack. So with no further ado, let me pass over to our second presenter of the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Jeffrey Alderman.
Hello everyone. Nelson College London, along with all education providers in the UK, and indeed in the world, is facing one of the worst pandemics in the past century, COVID-19. In our case, we acted swiftly to safeguard the well-being of both our students and staff. We cancelled a planned trip to Florence in Italy as early as the 24th of February, and we stopped all face-to-face teaching at both our campuses from Thursday the 19th of March. As of the date of this recording, which is in May, we're still in lockdown, of course. In spite of the many challenges posed by these circumstances, we're completely resolute in our desire to ensure that none of our students is disadvantaged. This has meant taking substantive action to ensure the provision of a suitable alternative delivery method, thereby securing the quality of education at Nelson College for all students. Now, normally at this point in the academic calendar, we'd be looking forward to holding our on-site learning, teaching, engagement and enhancement conference. But for obvious reasons, this is just not possible at this time. However, in its place, we've produced this video presentation highlighting all the good work that's been done to get Nelson College London online ready through the medium of Microsoft Teams, while continuing to provide you with value for money in your education. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all our staff and student representatives for their dedication and determination in getting the job done, and for their participation in this video presentation. Finally, to all our students, I'd like to extend both mine and the college's thanks for your perseverance and patience, and I'd like to extend to you all our best wishes for the successful completion of your studies.
Thank you, Jeffrey. We've been on quite a journey these last few weeks, haven't we? Yes, it has only been a few weeks. To talk to you now about the first steps of that journey, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Mudassar Mahmood. Mudassar.
Thank you, Bruce. Yes, it has been a wonderful experience. I'm really pleased to see how we all have pulled it together as a college and how supportive we have been towards each other, not just within each department, but also in a very cross-departmental way. I am sure we will all be taking a lot of learning away from last couple of months.
I would like to continue our journey to this element of the conference. My focus will be on the enhancement element of LTEE. Nelson College took a number of initiatives very quickly to ensure that the college was online ready for both staff and students after the Easter break. Though we have faced many challenges along the way, working very closely with our students has enabled us to meet these successfully. And as we continue to perfect our delivery, all classes are now running online through the software called Microsoft Teams. I would like to take this opportunity to explain exactly how we have achieved this and how critical your support as our students has been to its ongoing development and success. Our first priority was to set up an appropriate method of communication to ensure that the key issues were addressed in a timely manner. To achieve this, relevant staff from different departments would be invited to attend meetings as and when required. We therefore set up the staff and student liaison group to streamline and coordinate daily activities. In choosing which method to use in order to get the college online quickly, it became clear that Microsoft Teams would be the preferred solution. I will look at that in a little more depth presently. A series of training sessions were then put in place for staff. Micro-teaching sessions were held with student representatives in order to fine-tune the lecture's delivery, distribution of notes, and access to academic support. Similar training was also undertaken for the students. This included both direct interaction with students and instructional videos that were prepared by the KEC team for the benefit of both students and lecturers. Just as we do normal classroom-based lessons, we continued to conduct peer reviews and teachers' observation. This allowed us to build upon and share best practices. A little more on that shortly. It became clear very early in this process that a framework for feedback needed to be created to support and enhance our normal communication process. Our open door policy needed to remain in place even if it was now a virtual door. The first step of this process was the creation of framework for the group to coordinate daily activities and to generate meaningful reports. The group would consist of key members together with students, with others contributing as required. Finally, processes were put in place to ensure effective management of information generated together with an actioning procedure. This simple graphic identifies the four-step process that was put in place. Proactively identify issues, agree positive solutions, implement those solutions, review and evaluate. Recognizing that we needed to create a virtual circle and equally accept that not every solution would work first time, we surrounded our 4 steps with a simple sense check.
Thank you, Mudassar. Learning, teaching, engagement and enhancement is of course about students as well as staff. We need all parties to participate in this virtuous circle. I'm therefore delighted to welcome our first student presenter, Abdur Rashid.
There have been challenges due to COVID-19. As a student representative, I speak on behalf of my fellow colleagues, how we were experiencing during the pandemic lockdown. We were unable to go about or attend our classes. Our lecturer were unable to provide the lessons. However, the college allowed them to contact the student individually, which made it less difficult. We had concern over how we're going to complete our assignment and submit them on time. There are issues where we were unable to obtain information from libraries, but there are information available online. For students, there is always a need for additional support in the learning process. This will help students boost their knowledge and will give them more confidence in the learning, and it will allow them to achieve what they want to learn.
Thank you, Abdur. We really do appreciate your participation in this event. Next, to talk more about our RLS, our remote learning strategy, I'd like to welcome Shakil HAAWK to our virtual stage. Shakil will approach this particularly from a London Met perspective. London Met commenced virtual learning 2 weeks ahead of the Easter break. So here with some more information on their approach, ladies and gentlemen, Shakil HAAWK.
Thank you, Bruce, for your kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here and to be making a good contribution to this event. I wanted to talk today about how we have been engaging with our students throughout this period of online learning. We begin to manage our student engagement with 5-step process. Step 1. Student engagement objectives. To issue clear and concise guidance to students about what was happening and how their classes would be managed going forward. We knew that if students have uncertainties, then that would make it difficult for them to engage in the classes. At each stage of the process, we recognize the need to provide the reassurance that our students might need. The second step was to consider the necessary hardware for our teams. This included equip all tutors with college mobile phones and laptops. We shared necessary contact details for the students, ensuring no contravention of GDPR factors. Call cycles were established to ensure that all lecturers were in contact with their students to help and support where necessary. Students were provided with contact details for lecturers and support teams to ensure that they were able to communicate upwards if they wish to. All this would ensure that students on the programs were fully engaged, both to participate within their scheduled timetable classes and also as a means to contact the tutors and administration staff for help and support if required. Step 3. There were 4 elements in place in respect of supporting engagement. Tutors and administration staff were made available to students during regular timetable sessions, understanding that the COVID crisis might impact on the times when students might wish to engage in their studies. Several tutors made themselves available in the evenings and weekends too. Students were called proactively each individual class day to ensure that they had received their class notes and were able to participate. This provided essential reassurance to students while the college continued in its efforts to become online ready. Step 4. Nelson College London already knew that communication was key in this process, student engagement with online learning. Students were updated regularly on the progress being made to get the college online and how this would address the students' desire for more socially interactive classes within their regular timetables. Training and development of staff and students took place throughout. Particularly helpful were the training videos that were produced by the college. Smaller micro-teaching activities involving student representatives were organized and conducted over Microsoft Teams. At this point, we also communicated with students, provide their online login details with guidance, instructions for the return from the Easter break. Step 5. Student engagement effectiveness. Naturally, we needed to measure the success of the measures that we had put in place, so we took steps to measure this. Towards the end of the second week of study, we produced an electronic student survey. We received an impressive 54% response rate. It was very gratifying that all responses received were positive and justified our initial student engagement strategy. However, we still face many challenges as a college, and we are addressing this on a daily basis. Thank you for your kindness in listening to my presentation. I trust that you have found the things that I had to say interesting and informative.
Thank you, Shaquille. One of the purposes of our LTEE conference is that of continuous improvement, making life better for our new students. This is a challenging time for our marketing and recruitment teams. They really do need your help. To talk a little more about that, I'd like to welcome one of NCL's directors, ladies and gentlemen, Shiraz Islam.
I just wanted to give you a brief update on what is going on for the recruitment for September 2020. This time last year, Nelson College was deep into recruitment. We used many forms of advertising, open days, exhibitions, but most importantly, the word of mouth from our current students and those students who previously studied with us at Nelson College. However, this year, we've had to customize our initiatives in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We will now conduct our recruitment through our digital platforms. And as usual, we will need your help through word of mouth by recommending your friends and family to Nelson College.
Thank you, Shiraz. I hope you all heard Shiraz's request for your support when it comes to recruitment for this September. HND students commenced their Easter break the day after face-to-face teaching stopped. To talk about how the HND teams prepared for their students' return to a virtual classroom, I'd like to welcome someone who in fact needs no introduction at all. Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Amankwa.
Thank you, Bruce. I feel really privileged to be part of this event. We have been on such a journey of discovery over the last couple of months. I'm really proud of my team and my colleagues, watching how they have adapted and also thrived through these unprecedented circumstances. Thank you so much. For this section of the conference, I would like to take you on the journey that we have all been on since our normal practices and procedures had to be amended drastically to meet the restrictions that were imposed upon us as a college by the government. We are now going to look from the perspective of both our students and our lecturers. Looking first from the perspective of our students, there were a number of factors that we needed to take into consideration. The first step in the process was to undertake a survey of students to establish what hardware they were in possession of. This was to enable them to undertake the lessons. We also wanted to establish the familiarity with the software that we would be using. The key software package for all students, and indeed lecturers, was to have access to Microsoft Office 365. The college has provided free access to this package to all students. Recognizing that this technology might be new to many of our students, we provided them with training by telephone and also by video calls. An initiative that was already underway before the commencement of the lockdown was for each class to have its own WhatsApp group. We reinforced this and made sure that all students were members of the relevant group. We held pilot classes with a number of students to identify likely areas of difficulty and use these to inform subsequent actions. As a short-term measure, before students were confident in the direct logon process, the IT team helped with the creation of direct clickable links which would take students directly into their virtual classrooms. One of the things that we established during the pilot classes was the need for some additions to our normal classroom etiquette. These included the muting of microphones, methods of asking questions, and so on and so forth. Unable to use our normal face-to-face approach in engaging with students, the college significantly increased its use of social media as a communication tool. Turning now to our teaching staff. As with our students, the first part of the teaching journey started with meetings. These looked at how lessons might best be adapted for online delivery. They also covered the practical aspects of hardware and software. When it came to the use of the software, some of our lecturers had prior experience in using it, whilst others needed guidance from the IT team as to how to get the best and the most from such technology. The online pilot classes were not just for the benefit of our students, they were also invaluable to our lecturers, making sure that they were fully ready and prepared when the first full classes were launched. Leading our students into new territories, the lecturing teams also engage with each other, sharing best practices and experiences and being supportive to each other to ensure our students get the best from our delivery. We also prepared our student support tutors for this new approach. We recognize that not only will they be receiving requests for academic support from students, but they may well also be asked to give support with the new technologies. Academic feedback itself was also amended so that this could be delivered remotely. The academic and administrative teams worked together to overhaul the methods of capturing student attendance, with a more evidence-based system being adopted to allow students a much more greater degree of flexibility towards their studies. Taking full responsibility for their students, the lecturers also played a part in the distribution of the direct links to students when these were being used as an access method. The final part of the jigsaw was to ensure the timings of lessons remained appropriate to all participants, and that consideration was also given to the inclusion of breaks. It would of course be untrue for me to say that everything went entirely without a hitch. There were a number of hurdles that we needed to overcome. These included getting to the Office 365 itself through both the logging in process and overcoming Wi-Fi connectivity. Similarly, the increased demand led to some students having difficulty accessing the VLE too. Some students who entered the virtual classrooms as guests were prevented from accessing the chat facility within the Teams meeting. This also applied to the attendance recording within the chat box. Finally, we needed to work with lecturers to ensure that they were all able to set up question and answer facilities for their students.
That was really interesting. Thank you, Margaret. I'd now like to welcome the second of our student presenters, Temitope Olorafumi. Temitope is studying an HND in Hospitality Management. Over to you, Temi.
Yeah, the challenges I have faced at this time of the pandemic had to do with my physical and mental health. Not being able to go out as usual, not being able to interact with my colleagues in a classroom. Even my mental health has also been affected by dwelling on thoughts as I've been stuck in the same place. Yeah, online learning has been a bit of a struggle for me. There has been many distractions from family members. Also, my concentration level hasn't been the same as being in the classroom. Nelson College has done what needed to be done extremely well. I must commend them. But I think having access to live chat at a given time, other than during lectures, with our lecturers would give students opportunity to have instant responses to their concerns academically. Thank you.
Thank you, Temi Tope. Not for one moment have we forgotten one of NCL's most valuable assets, its lecturers. They have been through some really challenging times since lockdown began. Here, to present just a snapshot of their comments, is Mercy Msisya. Mercy?
Thank you, Bruce. I'm very much pleased to be here to present a snapshot of the views of our lecturers and to play my part in the making of this conference. Thank you. I will present only a few examples of typical comments that we have received from lecturers. Other feedback will naturally be shared and inform our approach in the future. The project management has been sound and hence the huge success. There are still minor problems, some largely due to poor devices or poor internet services. The inclusion of student support lecturers in classes to deal with students' attendance and other issues is a very good idea that has facilitated the smooth running of classes. The college's approach allowed for continued interaction with the students. The introduction of Microsoft Teams for delivering virtual teaching and learning at Nelson College, London, has been largely a huge success. Microsoft Teams Virtual Classroom guarantees a learning experience that focuses on real-time engagement, easy to log in and use with many other features that are easy to operate. COVID-19 pushed Nelson College to take the next step towards transformational teaching and learning. As the pace of digitization is accelerating every day, we are using Microsoft Teams to promote collaboration and active learning. It has opened new possibilities for assessment of the students. It has presented an opportunity to learn new skills. On the second week, things improved a great deal. Students gradually got used to online teaching and started enjoying their classes. Although there's been a bit of apprehension before the beginning of online teaching, so far it has been a novel and enjoyable experience on the part of both lecturers and students. As for me, I'm enjoying learning to use the whiteboard and sharing options amongst other things. It has encouraged me to use more technological tools more often in the class to assess students in real time. Thank you for listening to my section. Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you, Mercy. As Mercy has indicated, we have looked at and will continue to look at all the comments that we received from our lecturers. Now, I mean no slight to our other presenters if I say that we have saved the best until last. Here, to share his views, it is my absolute privilege to introduce Mr. Nazim Udin.
Today, I would like to talk about 3 specific aspects of our college. And during this pandemic, I would like to start with how Nelson College has coped with the transition from traditional teaching method to online-only teaching during this COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, that all our students, colleagues, and friends have supported us, helped us to migrate from a traditional environment to an online environment. Even we started before the current semester. That allowed us to make sure not a single student is affected by by the COVID-19. We have not been defeated by COVID-19. Rather, we used the COVID-19 as an opportunity, and we capitalized that opportunity. About 2 years ago, we started piloted delivering some of our teaching online. We made use of YouTube channels, we made use of Facebooks, we made use of other technology platforms. Through the trials, we have learned the systems that work for us. So therefore, sometime in 2019, we decided to migrate to Microsoft 365, and now we are using Microsoft Teams to deliver our platform. So I have, along with my colleagues, have started producing some pilot surveys. We started the survey with the student representative first, and then we rolled out that survey to all our students to understand the technology that they use, the equipments that they use, and how can we best use of that technology so that no one is affected negatively by our transition to online environment. I'm happy to say that we are now running fully online and our attendance rate has shot up dramatically. So it's all because of your support, your help, and your dedication and commitment. So I thank you first. Thank you very much for supporting us to move and transit to online platform. Now I used to talk to you about our approach for giving a world-class student learning experience for the benefit of our students. You know that students sit at the heart of all our planning, and we design our delivery platform making sure that the students' voices is heard in every aspect of our planning. Additionally, you know that we have a very informal system so that our students feel like we are part of a community, we are part of a family, and we have a shared purpose and objective so that everybody can feel that they are part of NCL. We have a very informal approach. Anyone, any students, whether new or potential, whether a staff or anybody else, can approach anyone of the senior management team, and that helps us to build relationship with our students, and that relationship is fundamental in our delivery of educational provision. Thank you very much for making NCL a student-centric college. In my last aspects of this speech, in my last part of this speech, I would like to talk to you about two particular points. One is about student protection. What do we do to make sure our student is protected? And what do we do to make sure our students get value for money? You know for sure that the college always try its best to ensure the college is financially and operationally sustainable. We have an audit committee that has an oversight of our risk management, and as soon as the COVID-19 symptoms were emerging, we created a risk register contextualized to the COVID-19 situation, and we have drastically changed the way we operate. In addition to that, we always have tried to make sure our students' interest is protected. The college has a student protection plan so that every student who enrolls at Nelson is protected from all the adverse problems that they may encounter. Apart ensuring value for money, I would say that we have studied the sector. We did a lot of research work to understand what actually constitute value for money for our students. We read many research papers. We studied many universities' value for money position and framework. And I'm happy to tell you that we have our own customized contextual value for money framework. So, as part of that framework, we look at three aspects. One is the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. We will be effective, we will be successful, only we deliver what is needed by our students. And for that reason, we wanted to be absolutely transparent as to what we do and how we do it. For that reason, we publish a value for money statement on our website so that our students can see what is happening at the college, so that they can question us, so that we can become more accountable to our students. In relation to value for money, I would like to say that your experience is highly important, and I would like you to read that value for money statement. If you wish to share any ideas to which can enhance your values, you are more than welcome. We're happy to have a dialogue with you and learn from your insight and information. Before I close, I would like to thank you firstly to help us to harness the technologies that we have, help us to learn from the experience that we have conducted, and help us to deliver the services that we are delivering. If you were not helping us, we would not have achieved this far. Thank you for your hard work. Secondly, I would like to say a very big thank you to all my colleagues who have worked day and night in many cases, going beyond their normal duties to make sure none of the students is affected by the COVID-19. I'd like to give a big thanks to my colleagues. And finally, I'd like to give a big thanks to the regulator, OFS. They have worked proactively and helped us, guided us, and supported us. Without their support, we would not have achieved whatever we have achieved so far. So thank you to the UK government. Thank you to the OFS.
Thank you, Nazim. And thanks to all of you for staying with us. We truly hope that you have found this virtual conference both interesting and indeed informative. Please do not forget that if you have any comments on any aspect of learning, teaching, engagement or enhancement, that we would love to hear from you. That address again, LTEE@nelsoncollege.ac.uk. Thanks for being with us. Right, I'm off to enter our quiz.